Greetings, viewers. Thanks for joining me out in front of the shop today. Wanted to go over a little bit about this little jewel that I went and picked up. Now, this is going to be a parts truck for obvious reasons. I got some cool loading videos I'll show you here in a minute of it. I talk a lot about finding a truck with the parts that you need, taking those parts off and reselling other parts off of the vehicle and things. That's how I like to build a lot of the vehicles I get. That's a great way to get them put together. You can get the part you need, you can sell the rest of the vehicle, you kind of got your part for free, so to speak. I know you could have sold that part too, but you needed that part, so you spared yourself the money of buying a new one. Now, this particular vehicle really has a lot to offer. I can go around this after if I can get it off my trailer. All of the brakes are locked up on it, but I'm sure I can get it off of there. But yeah, I'll go over this particular unit, how it's a little diamond in the rough, all on its own, but how you can find the vehicle to get the part you need. I'm building the 2nd gen 4Runner project that way. I'll go over what money I have in versus what I had to pay for the vehicles I got the parts from. Hope all that made sense. And anyway, so this will only be like one video about this truck. Can I make it run and what parts of value are on it? It's kind of an all-in-one video. Hopefully you'll enjoy it in multiple pieces, or all in one instead of in multiple pieces. It all depends on how it goes, but I plan to show you, getting it off the trailer, making it run, and telling you what all is valuable on this particular truck. I can kind of clue you what parts have value on some other Toyotas, because Toyotas are what I know, it's why I do it. But I started out buying used vehicles to get the parts I needed and reselling them, and it turned into a salvage business for me, so that's been awesome. So yeah, stay tuned here through this video. I'm done for the day, but tomorrow I'll be back and show you how I get that off the trailer. I'll assess it, tell you what it's worth, hopefully get it started, maybe I can't drive it, the brakes are all locked up. But anyway, we'll get it going. I'm going to play with the dog right now. See you tomorrow. Perfect. Oswald, get out from under it. Come on over here, buddy. That's the kind of piece of equipment I need for shuffling vehicles around at home. This one might have a rusty frame on it. Just gonna try to put the front of it up on my trailer, and then I can winch the rest of it up on there. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's gonna make it so much easier for me. Just a little bit more. About right there, looks good. Hot dog, look at that. Now we're gonna set it down on there. I'll come back with my winch and winch the rest. I don't know if you can pull that. Yeah. Time to stop videoing and start helping. All right, viewers, I got old No Knock, the additive special here running. Longer it idles, it starts to smoke a little, but it is kind of chilly today too. I'm going to use the winch and see if I can't drag this thing in off of the trailer. We'll see how it goes. I like to put my little rolly carts behind the wheels as they drop off. So I'm going to get started on that, give you a little bit of what I'm happening. What a bit! you enjoyed that video of getting it loaded up. That was comical. Something's got to give. What's it going to be? It's a 4Runner on the slick pavement. Let me try it from inside with the brakes on. Okay, I hope you can see that. It's actually kind of working. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Yeah, bud. Yeah. Yeah. Forward. It's going better than I thought. That's a better idea than I thought it was going to be. Much better. Did way better than I thought it would. I'm going to go jack the fronts up and put them on the dollies correctly. This one fell off, but the other one's still on. You can see the smoke starting to clear from the 4Runner running in here. But awesome, that thing's off. Got it on the rollers now, so it'll roll around. I'll show you how I did this part up here. This will be a good place, a good position on the rollers for it. For rolling around, of course. It's good on the rollers. I get my 4Runner out when I get the Tacoma out of here. Had to order another part for the Tacoma, that's why it's still here. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's probably it for the minute, but it's in here. All 4 wheels will roll. Well, they won't roll, but they're on rollers now. So that's a good thing. This one up here, I just put it underneath the ball joint. It's pretty good on there. It's a pretty solid piece. It's not gonna fall off, I don't think. As I roll this, the rust just keeps falling on the floor. So I don't think I'm gonna go any further back with it. I haven't popped the hood. Let's pop the hood together. I did open the glove box without you. Thank goodness this isn't smell-o-vision show, because the inside of this thing just stanking right now. I'm gonna go get that other window down. But let's look under the hood, shall we? I would say it made a poppy noise. Hold on. You get old like me, you don't have to grunt every time you move something, but it just makes it easier is what happens there. They drove this up until the lower ball joint failure. He ran the engine after that, if I understood correctly, and started it at least once to make sure it ran, because he heard it run, and it ran fine. Now, I do believe he told me this had 400,000 miles on it. 417,000. That is awesome. He said this engine has been replaced, if he remembers correctly. And I don't hold anybody to that kind of stuff, but I appreciate him telling me what they know. So at some point that engine's been changed. So what we got here is a 3RZ. If it runs and don't knock, it's a good running 3RZ. I can't drive this unit, but it's got the 5-speed and 4-wheel drive. Let me see what the gears are on this one real quick. Let's see. B03A. Watch out, buddy. Watch out, buddy. Watch your nose. Woo. B03A. It's not got the E-locker. Hold, please. Now look up what B03A means for the gears. I think it's 410, but maybe a limited slip with the B. So hold, please. Yeah, that is a 410. The B03A is a 410. It's getting late. I got a lot yet to do. I'm going to just leave this here, unload it, maybe let the dog get in and smell it. He's having a good time with it, and it really stinks, man, I tell you. I'm going to go get that passenger window down. But anyway, so right now I know it's got 410s. That's good. Rear end doesn't look too bad in it. It wasn't all rusted out. I'm sure I can get the brakes unstuck, or at least the axles off and apart. As I start to go through and do some more on this, we'll do a here, will it run, and an assessment throughout this video. It might end up being a little long, but I hope to keep it pretty decent and show you what I got here. Okay, enough about that right now. Yes. Oh, that's going to make it so much easier for me. Just a little bit more. About right there, looks good. All right, got the Tacoma finally over here on the chopping block. I did sell the wheels that were on the 2nd gen. Got those Steelies on there, and I don't hate them. They're 16s, easier to find tires for too. Getting more sold off of the 2nd gen means it gets closer to staying in the fleet, which makes me real happy. Silver T100 is right here. There's the 3.0 donor engine, all the necessaries, and the transmission transfer case as well. So there's my potential long travel 2nd gen stuff, but that's not what I'm here to talk about right now. First thing first on this, yeah, I'm going to try and get it started. I have to get it running. This 2.7 engine, he said, ran 3 years ago. It'll run now. I just need to start messing with it. This is the first I've had a chance to do to it. First thing I'm going to do is take out the seats and the center console and all of this stuff back here, so I got room to start tearing the front out. The actual bucket seats, they're kind of funky and dirty. I'm going to air them out and clean them out. They would definitely need recovered, but that console is nice. The lid on it's nice. The boots are nice around the shifters. And those, those bucket seats, gosh, so see, look at that thing. Oh, cow, there's just nothing left there. That went straight to the floor. But anyway, that's hilarious. So I'm going to take the seats and the console out. The seats and the console have as much value as what I paid for the truck, even more if they were nicer. But I bet you I can get a decent price out of those. Recouping the money on this truck isn't going to be any problem. As I go around taking out, I mean, like the seats and console is just fasteners undone. But I'm going to show you the fastest way, like how I strip these down like this by cutting everything. Everything that's important, cut the other end too, so you have it, you know. I'll go over all that. But anyway, first things first, the interior of this, that cluster is good. That steering wheel is good. There's some gray pieces in here that I might need for that truck. and possibly some other things as well. That sliding back window looks like it's had it. But I'm going to take all this out, and then we're going to move along to getting the other things off. The fastest way to strip this beast down and what all has value on here already in the interior. I promise you I can make my money back. Now it's really funny the way that fell apart. But anyway, look at that seat bolt come right out though. Seat's even full of lug nuts for wheels it doesn't have. Man, the smell in here is awful. I had to break out the big gun. Literally the big gun. It worked! Seatbelt wire. I can't even read what this CD says. Unsmelly seat out. Alright, looks like somebody started taking this out at one time. Still stinks. But that's okay. Screw over here. Oh, smelly, smelly, smelly. Wow, this stinks. It's got a jack. Wow, really old jack too. I'll have to get that. Get these shifter knobs. Stanky. This is missing from my second gen before. Console lid come off, but got a console now, eh? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get the shifters off there and put rags in place. You want to save your screws for these. So far, change-wise, I'm only seeing about 50 to 75 cents, and it's all funky. Alright, now this metal plate will lift off. And those shifters, that just comes right off those shifters. Then you got those two boots. Let me grab my pick. Alright, got my pick. Get my glove back on. Everything in here is so funky. I think... Hey, quit bumping the camera, dude. Yeah. Just pull that little boot up. Did you see that? Oswald, get your head out, bro. Head out. You just get underneath that boot with your little pick, just like this one, and pop that off. Can you see here how that has a little ring around the inside? You just push that down with your thumbs. Yuck, I hate even putting my knee down there, but you just push that down with your thumbs and spin it. It starts to go. Put your shifter in neutral first, by the way. It works best for me, it seems. So you get that down and you start to spin it, and you can generally, shift up into like fourth or fifth, or third or fifth, and it spins it the rest of the way around. All right, and now wrap these up in a plastic bag here. Now this one, can you see what's happening with this one? I'm going to try to turn this boot inside out and show you. You kind of got to take your gloves off for this one because you need to squeeze. There's a little seat clamp on there. Can you see that little ring pushing up and down right there? You just push that down to relieve some tension and squeeze this C-clamp together. Like that. Pop the C-clamp out. There you get a better view. That little C-clamp and that little collar is on a spring. Alright, I like to have this in 2 high. That one in neutral. Just makes it easier when you're putting the shifters back in. And of course, just shove a rag down in those holes. But now I got plenty of room to get in here in this mouse infested piss hole carpet disgustingness. Not that I'm complaining. And can get the rest of this dash apart. Now that temperature control head is up. There we go, that's a little better, huh? That temperature control head is worth something. That is an old Pioneer tuner worth probably nothing. I'm going to save that cluster. I'm going to save the steering wheel. These pieces. Lower dash stuff is pretty common. Not really worth saving necessarily. Ooh, it does have aftermarket speakers in it. Maybe I'll pull them out if they're still good. Get that jack and handle. I said that. This bed is worth nothing. All right, this is about as far torn down as it gets until I need to get the harness and computer out over there, and I need to get the cluster still and that clutch start switch. But this is as torn down as it gets until I get that motor running. So I've taken out everything that isn't necessary for the engine to run and left everything that is. All right, next thing, get this started if possible. I did you the courtesy of not having to watch me clean terminals and swap out a battery. This one, the bolt doesn't work, so I gotta use a vice grip on it. On the other side over here, the air filter is filthy, and the mouse nest going on down there is pretty intense, but I got it hanging up here. It stinks so bad I don't want to touch it. All right, now I haven't tried to crank it yet. Let's see, it shows 3/4 of a tank of fuel. Is it moving? Yeah, it's going down. Okay, so it could be no fuel. Either way, it's at least 3 years old. Transmission's in neutral, transfer case is in 2-wheel drive, but the transmission's in neutral. What do you think is going to happen? Look at that! Holy shit, first fucking try! Okay, that's crazy. That's clearly the easiest will it run I have ever done. Okay, he said it sat for at least 3 years. I just put a battery in it. I promise you I put a battery in it. Check the oil. The oil was a quart low, so I did give it the courtesy of a quart of oil. Since it's been here, it's been dripping on my floor. But it would appear as though I have a running engine. Oh my goodness. It says it's in 4-wheel drive. Oswald, that's enough, buddy. It's done. It's done. Well, look at that. Okay, it runs. I'll let it run up to temperature before I drain all the coolant out of it. The will it run part, that was easy. Interior's gone. I'll come back, we'll start stripping the rest of this thing down, get its hulk out of here and to the scrap yard, and I'll show you the big pile of amazing things. I'll continue to take them off. And that's all for the Will It Run part. Totally undramatic, and man, I could use that in my life right now, let me tell you. All right, now I've run this up to operating temperature to get a video for the potential customer. This has a new radiator, so I'm going to include that with the engine. I'm going to get ready and start pulling things. I got the antifreeze draining right now, playing ball with the dog. This bumper and grill are both in good shape, so I'm going to pull those next, get under, get some 14s out of the bumper. And then I'll take pins to the fender. There's just 2 bolts on each side on the bumper, and then they're bolted up there. All you'll be able to see me is laying on the ground. All right, so once I get that bumper off, it's just these little tabs from here. Raise them up, and the grill slides out. There's a little tab behind there. This is a nice grill. That was a nice bumper. Those are just more little pieces you can sell. You can sell them for cheap, or you can try to get a lot out of them, but generally on a vehicle I buy for pretty inexpensive. I sell parts according to what I pay for them. I know that ain't everybody's preferred method, but it seems the right way to do it to me, and especially if I'm helping keep people's daily drivers on the road. Let me stash this. A lot of rust on that core support. All right, once you get your bumper stashed away, you can take your hood off. You can do it by yourself. This one's in pretty decent shape. I may even be able to sell it. Leave your prop rod in. Just tuck it behind the corner there. Put that back in. Now just kind of walk it forward a little. See if you can get a grip on it. And Viola, take your hood off by your lonesome. Next is going to be all the fender bolts. There you go. Don't forget your one up here in the door. Get that last bolt out. Remove said fender. Go to the other side. Repeat the process. Then we'll be ready to remove the radiator and start cutting this front end off. I take all this stuff here with the tins. I'll take all that stuff off so I can get the condenser out. I mean, that's an accumulator, but I'll accumulate piles of this stuff before I go cash it out. When you pop that hose, try to keep your face out of the way. There we go. I got the condenser out of the way, hose is off. I'll just take the overflow jug with it generally. That's kind of a whole package. All right, that was a major pain in the ass, but that's clearly a new radiator, so we're selling or saving and selling with that motor. I deal with a lot of these, and the amount of rust that falls off never ceases to amaze. I want to take next, undo all the crap on the fender wells, like the EVAP box, because it does match this motor. There we go. There's fuel lines over here that need disconnected from this fender as well. I'll also save this hard clutch line for my Forerunner, even though I saved one off the T100 also. I'll get the rest of the air box off of these fenders. So all I'm going to do right now is go around taking bolts and cutting things that didn't cooperate. I'll be right back with more. All right, now I got everything off of there that would come off. I'll show you how I cut these fenders back. That's a good time to grab a bunch of fuses and breakers if you don't already have 5 million of them. And this one's even still got the fuse puller inside. Some of this wiring, like this wire here, needs to be saved out of this box. I could cut it off and make them come up with it themselves, but I can unbolt it and take it out real easy. Unbolting this one or cutting it off from here, it also runs to that box, but these should be things that are on, they should have all this on their existing vehicle. Now this igniter box still goes with the motor and this little bit of harness, but there's a little more harness and some wires I can get there. I'm down to one Sawzall blade, so I may just have to show you how or where I cut. I mean, it's pretty obvious if you've seen any of the other vehicles in here before, but I'm going to try and get some of the stuff cut off and some of these wires pulled here real quick, because the wiring is worth some money and it's not that difficult to take it. So I use, this is my wire cutter for big clumps. I'm going to take this off and then I'm just going to go through and cut a bunch of the wiring out. Anything that folds back up onto the engine you don't want to cut, obviously. These things off the wall that all have wire harness attached to them, take them loose and flip them up. Make sure none of the wires you're cutting are going down there. After I take this one off anyway, it won't be. So you get that one, unplug the bottom here to the fuse box. Like I say, anything that goes to the motor, you need to unplug. Get a 12 and get this one off. Everything that goes to the engine is loose and freed up from the firewall. That was just the ground, homemade anyway. Fuel feed and return lines over there, and then nothing else over here except this little box, the igniter box. All right, and that'll fold up onto the engine as well. All right, now for the sake of shortening this video, there's some more brackets down there you have to get loose to get these lines off of the fender down there. I'm going to show you where I would cut this, the easiest way to get to the doghouse. And then I can show you on one of these over here how I take them from there. It is really warm out here today. I'm going to go behind my brake line over here. That mouse infested yuck off of there. These are the most junk blades. Linux blades used to be great. They kind of suck now, they're so thin. But that's all it was available at the time. So anyway, and you can see there, now that's all free. I managed to cut through my wires there, but usually I will cut those with something else. Now I take these two pieces out of the center. Don't forget safety glasses, ear protection if you feel like you need it, other things such as that. Now I'll get these aluminum lines off of there. But once I get that part to where that part is, look at that. That is funny, this thing is so rusted. I'll take this out. Yeah, you'll encounter crap like this too, probably. Ow, that blade's hot. And then these are not my favorite, but oh, ripped the back out of it. What a piece of crap. Linux blades suck. That's my Linux blade. I mean, the name rhymes with Linux. Okay, so right in here is a great place to cut the front corner of your frame off, and then you get this whole section off in one piece. Now when you do that, be sure you miss this area right here where your hook is. Now I'll grab a 17 and get the hook. I'll get the rest of the aluminum. I'll get the wires. We basically just repeat that process for the other side. Now we're getting close to the end here, so hold tight. You have seen these where I pull them. I'll get under. If I don't need the drive shafts, I'll just cut the drive shaft. Otherwise, I'll unbolt it first. Cut the cross member. Cut the frame. If you have torsion bars, just cut the torsion bars. Use a cutoff wheel on the torsion bars. I use a Sawzall and everything else. Be prepared because you do go through webbing like that every time you cut. Now on this vehicle here, there's no torsion bar. Make sure you're missing your bracket down here, so you got to come like clear back here and cut. And just cut this right off. That of course after I cut the exhaust off, after I cut the cross member underneath. But in the interest of shortening this video, I'm just showing you like on the T100. I cut the drive shaft because I don't need it. I cut the cross member. Then I cut the frame. This one had torsion bars, cut the torsion bars. If possible, I'll have wheels on it. Then I can just roll the whole thing right out from under, take my motor off, strip it from there. On motors I'm not keeping, I'll just cut it right through here with a saw and take everything apart. If they don't want the transmission, that's easy to pull. But this way they have every single piece, or I have every single piece. There's another complete drivetrain. I got a 3.4, a 3.0, and a 2.7 now. That'll be complete drivetrain sitting on the ground. So you get the idea of how to get this engine the rest of the way out. Like I said, I'd show you, but it's taking a lot of time. And really, you put your jack stands behind there, kind of like where the body mount is, if there's any frame left, and it all just drops down. Now, that's really easy. On the back, I want this differential. I'm going to break out some tools and start cutting that off. I just cut the U-bolts, the brake lines, and everything else on there. You can see this one here. I start stacking parts up on. This one I believe is a 410. But yeah, cut the brake lines, cut the e-brake cables if they're still there, cut the overload sensor if it's still there. Usually I just cut the wires or unplug it. The slip yoke slips out, and cut the U-joints. Generally, if the shocks aren't already falling apart, they will stay with that bottom plate, or you can unbolt them first. If you really need to see those two parts, let me know. Yeah, and maybe I can show you how to cut those off. To go on just a little bit further here, now that I've had it running, I took that clutch start switch, I took the console, the cluster. This steering wheel is not in great shape, but it's not gross either. Still debating on whether I'll take that out before it's all said and done. So if you really need to see, that's as simple as cutting your grinder through them U-bolts and they snap. It's no biggie. Now on this truck, some value pieces. I paid X amount of dollars for this truck. I'm going to clean those seats up. I've already cleaned that console up. And I bet you I can get dang near everything I paid on it right off of these seats. Now earlier I said I could get it guaranteed, but I haven't cleaned them up yet, so I'm still saying maybe. That is a good grill, that's dollars. That is a good bumper, that's dollars. That rear end is good. It's a 410 also, which is the most popular, but that's dollars. And it's not leaking, so that's more than half what I paid for the truck there, easy. So that's 3/4 of what I paid for the truck I can get out of that axle. Not a whole lot the interior had to give other than the buckets and console. Maybe I sell that cluster, maybe I could sell that steering wheel. Those aren't things I'm counting on. This engine runs. You've seen it run. I ran the transmission through the gears. It feels like it's good. Obviously I couldn't use it. I wasn't going to set in there and all that grossness, but I did put it in gear and hit the clutch. Put the shifter in and pulled out on the clutch, and it tried to stall the engine in every gear, including reverse. So that made me feel good about that. This engine alone is worth the price I paid for the truck and then half again. The transmission and transfer case is worth what I paid for this truck. On this unit here, now, first gen Tacomas offered lockout hubs on four-wheel drive. So that means there's no ADD on the front diff. It's just a smooth axle. Right there you can see it. People who have like third gens and want lockouts on the front, this is what they need. They need these CVs, which this one's broke. They need these lockouts, and they need these spindles. I mean, if the brakes and caliper and everything is good, they also will take that differential so they can get rid of their ADD. Now, this alone is worth what I paid for the truck and then at least half again. So out of this truck that I paid X amount of dollars for, I know it's kind of vague, but it's really nobody's business what I'm doing as far as what I'm spending. But trust me, I can make minimum of 4 times my money back, possibly 6 times my money back on this one. This is a great way, like I'm saying, to buy the truck, get the parts you need. Now, I know a guy who is interested in these. I don't know if he's going to buy them, but I know he's interested in them. I'm happy he found the truck and pointed it out to me even. And I went right away and got it. But yeah, if he wants that part right there, that alone is worth, like I said, more than what I paid for the truck. So 4 to 6 times my money back on this unit. Awesome. Buy the truck, get the parts you need, turn around and sell it. If I needed those for my third gen, now I would have that and still have that engine, that transmission, that transfer case, the rear end, the seats and console, and other miscellaneous pieces that I can get off this. Actually, ain't too many more miscellaneous pieces. Enough about that for now. This has probably gone on way too long, but I appreciate you watching. I don't know what to title this just yet, but like if you liked it, please subscribe if you want to see more. So much going on with the Tundra, with the 4Runner, going on a big trip, and sadly the 4Runner has broken and it can't go. I've lost all the brakes on it. I've tried a couple different parts and a couple different things to try and fix it, and for some reason it's got no brakes. And I'll be darned if I'm going to the mountains in Kentucky to go wheeling with no brakes. So I'll get video of the other 3 guys and my Tundra. I'll be wheeling my Tundra mildly like I had already intended to do. Hush up, dude. Yeah, like I already had intended to do. So I'll be wheeling that. It'll be awesome. Yeah, there's just so many ways you can do this. Now, not everybody has a spot and patience and time to deal with this kind of thing. That's where I come in. I buy this truck really cheap. Even the saying what I would sell these things for, those are really good prices based on what I paid for this. And that's kind of the way I do it. If I get the vehicle cheap, I sell the parts cheap. If I have to pay a little more, parts cost a little more. People who can't do what I do is strip them down, get the parts they need. They come to me and buy them at a fair price. So that's enough about that. That's how you get the parts you need for your ride and still make your money back. Price of that 75 times. Really excited to get the second gen going. Been gathering parts for it. Lots of things gathering up quickly. I'm kind of surprised some of the parts I need. Work on the third gen. Sorry it's not going on this trip. Subscribe to my show, please, if you deem it worthy. All the free things you can do, like, subscribe, check links, comment, click bells, yeah, all that stuff. That stuff's all free, and it really helps me out. So thanks a lot for watching. I gotta get some game on with my dog here. He's been waiting patiently as he can. This is kind of how it goes. So thanks a whole bunch for joining me out here today. I super appreciate you. Have a great day.